for inequalities, we're going to be looking at questions 5 through 8. Yesterday, we saw lines, right? How to draw a line. The line, basically, any point on the line will make the statement true. Now, for inequalities, we're kind of going to see it as a line to begin with. We're going to be looking at, it's given with the y by itself, so I remember the slope-intercept form. Yesterday, with the equal sign, I said mx plus b, right? The number with the x, we call this the slope because it tells us how to move, but the number by itself, it tells us where to begin. Now here in question number 5, the plus 4 at the end tells me I'm going to begin at the point 0, 4. And then my slope is a 7 over 3. 7 over 3, so go up 7 and 3 to the right. So let me get this 2 points that I can get. The point 0, 4, it's right there. Now my slope says go up 7, 3 to the right. If I go up 7, I'm going to get outside of the picture. So let me change the signs, negative and negative. Now this one says go down 7 and 3 to the left. So I have this point. 2 points are enough for a line. Now, one thing, my inequality sign, if it has the or equal to part at the bottom, so if it's either one of these cases, I'm going to connect my points with a solid line, right? If it has the or equal to part at the bottom, right? Less than or equal to, greater or equal to, I'm going to connect them with the solid line. Now, if it's only less than or equal to without the, less than or greater than without the equal to at the bottom, I'm going to connect this as a dotted line. In question number 5, I'm going to connect this as a solid line because my inequality has that or equal to part. Right? Any point on this line will make my statement true. Now, interesting part of inequalities is my line separates my graph into 2 sides. One side also makes the statement true and the other side does not. All right, what I'm going to do, I'm going to choose a point from a side. My case, let me choose the point 0, 0. All right, I'm going to check if this side makes sense. I'm going to plug in the point 0, 0. So what I mean with that is that I have 0 is less than or equal to 0 plus 4. Notice how 7 over 3 times x, I called it all 0 because when you multiply by 0. So I have that 0 is less than or equal to 4. Right? It is a true statement. So that means that that side works. So I'm going to shade this whole side because this whole side works. If I choose any point on this side, will make a statement true. Will give me a true statement. If I choose any point from the other side, it doesn't work. As a matter of fact, let me show you guys how it looks like when it doesn't work. Let's choose this point. That's the point -6, 0. All right, so but that said is 0 is less than or equal to 7 over 3 times -6 plus 4. All right, I know now this one I have to go 7 times a -6 divided by 3. That's a -14. So I have that 0 is less than or equal to -10. Notice how it doesn't make sense. So like I said, the way I'm going to check which side of my line separates my graph into 2 sides. One side makes sense, the other side makes no sense. I'm going to choose a point from one of the sides. If it makes sense, well, that's the side that makes sense. If it doesn't make sense, well, it's the other side. Let's take a look at question number 6. Let me graph this real quick. I'm going to begin at the point 0, -2. And I know that because right here. And my slope is a -2 over 3. All right, let's start with the point. 0, -2. Whenever I have a negative sign, I only give it to the top or the bottom, not both. Only to the top or the bottom. So let me give, in this case, the negative to the top. -2/3. So go down 2 and 3 to the right. I'm going to connect my line as a dotted line in this case. Because my inequality sign doesn't have or equal to, so it is a dotted line. My lines separate my graph into two sides. One side makes sense, the other side does not. So I'm going to choose a point. I like to choose the point 0, 0 because it's easy to work with zeros. So I have that y, or 0, is less than 0 minus 2. So I have that 0 is less than -2. That makes no sense. That's not true. So that side is not correct. So in this case, I'm going to shade this other side. Any point, what I mean with the shading is any point on this side makes sense. Like I said, I choose a point. If it makes sense, the point 0, 0, well, that side makes sense. Kind of like it did in question number 5. If it doesn't make sense, well, that's the wrong side. It's the other one. Let's take a look at questions 7 and 8. This is given to us in standard form. Okay, so let's find 2 points to begin with. It said, what if x is equal to 0? So I'm going to ignore the whole x term. -2 times y is equal to 0, so y is 0. Another point I'm going to find out is, what if y is equal to 0? 3 times x is equal to 0, so x is equal to 0. Interesting here, though, that it gave me the same point, and I need 2 points. So let me use my slope. I remembered I said is -x over y. So the number in front of x is 3, so let me call this -3. The number in front of the y is a -2. So I have the point 0, 0. So I have a point, and my slope says go down 3, 2 to the left. So I have another point, and I'm going to connect. I have 2 points, so that's enough. I'm going to connect my points with a solid line. I look at the inequality sign because it has the or equal to part at the bottom. So I have to connect it with a solid line. All right, one of my sides makes sense. Unfortunately, I cannot choose the point 0, 0 because the point 0, 0 is part of the line. I choose a point that is not part of the line. So let's say I choose any point. Let me choose this point. All right, this is 2, 1. I'm going to choose the point 2, 1. I'm going to see if that point makes sense. All right, x equals 2. So 3 times x, that's 6, minus 2 times 1. And it says this is greater or equal to 0. So 4 is greater or equal to 0. Going back a little, where did I get the 6 from? 3 times x. I know x is 2. So 3 times x. Now, I also did 2 times y. That's how I got the 2. All right, this point makes sense, right? 4 is greater or equal to 0. So this side makes sense. You try a point, any point. If it makes sense, well, that's the correct side. If it doesn't make sense, the other side. Let's take a look at question number 8. I want to come out with my points. What if x is equal to 0? Right, I ignore the x term. 3 times y equals -9. So y, divide both sides by 3. Y is equal to -3. Okay, that gives me 1 point. Another point I'm going to do is, what if y is equal to 0? So cancel out the y term. To solve for x, I'm going to divide both sides by 5. So x equals -9/5. Oof, good luck trying to draw that one. I'm also going to find out what's my slope. I remember I go -x/y. The number in front of x is 5. So let me write this as a -5. The number in front of the y is 3. Don't forget that I switched the sign on the number on x. My slope is -5/3. I'm not even going to try drawing this point. So I have the point 0, -3. My slope says go down 5, 3 to the right. That takes me outside of the picture. So when that happens, I'm going to go my slope. I'm going to change the sign on both of my numbers. So let me have this as positive over negative. So now this thing says go up 5, 3 to the left. Based on the inequality sign, I'm going to connect this with a dotted line. All right, one of my sides makes sense. I'm going to try the point 0, 0. So I have that 0 plus 0, right? Because 5 times x is 0. 3 times y is 0. So 0 plus 0 is less than -9. So I have that 0 is less than -9. Now think about it. Is that true? 0 is less than -9? No, it's not. Right, 0 is bigger. So that makes no sense. So that I'm going to shade the other side. And that was it. Those are the examples that we did today.